I've been in a sweet online romance with my crush for 3 months. When they finally met in person, he realized he had added the wrong person. Gu Chuan, the school heartthrob, cast a dismissive glance at me and frowned in displeasure. I don't know why you pretended to be the department belle to add me, but you're really not my type. Let's just delete each other and pretend none of this ever happened. I nodded awkwardly. After hesitating for a long time, I finally mustered up the courage to ask him, before you delete me, could you give me your roommate's WeChat? After all, I just realized that I've been mistaken about someone too. My voice fell. The scene instantly fell silent. Gu Chuan's finger, which was about to tap the delete contact button, froze in place. He seemed not to have heard clearly, hesitating as he spoke to confirm. My roommate, who, Lu Huaiji. I felt a bit embarrassed being called out like that. Blushing and lowering her head, she murmured a soft Lu Huaiji was a top student at University A, with looks that rivaled those of Gu Chuan, the campus heartthrob. His admirers are as numerous as the fish in the river. It's not hard to guess at all, but Lu Huaiji was a lofty flower, untouched and unplucked by anyone. Unlike Gu Chuan, a string of rumored girlfriends, one after another. Gu Chuan remained silent for so long that I couldn't help but look up, wanting to beg him once more. After all, I have no connection with Lu Huaiji's circle. Is it really that difficult? Actually, I think I added him before, but I got the wrong person. Just tell me his WeChat ID. Back then, it was all to get Lu Huaiji's WeChat. I took the opportunity of writing a news article about the top campus dormitories to add all the students from the top 3 male dorms on WeChat. Maybe it was because too many people were added at once that the two WeChat IDs got mixed up. Oh, no wonder it felt so odd. The Lu Huaiji on WeChat wasn't as aloof as the rumors suggested. Instead, after just a few casual chats, he quickly took the initiative to confess his feelings to me. So it was a false alarm. For some reason, Gu Chuan's eyes suddenly turned complicated, and he casually pressed further. Do you need him for something? I rolled my eyes and blurted out a perfect excuse. Well, the student council wants to ask him to film a promotional video recently, but I can't find his contact info. Gu Chuan thought for a moment longer before giving an almost imperceptible nod. Tell you what, I'll share his contact with you, and you share Su Yang's with me, but let me warn you, Lu Huaiji is pretty full of himself. He might not even bother with you. Hearing him mention Su Yang's name again, I felt a bit disappointed all of a sudden. I didn't catch a word of what was said after that, just forcing a smile and nodding vigorously. I quickly pulled up our WeChat chat and stared at the screen, waiting for him to send me the contact card. It's a bit embarrassing to talk about, actually. On the screen, the last chat record between Gu Chuan and me, still stuck on that message he sent me. Baby, when I see you later, can I kiss you? My cheeks couldn't help but flush. Who would have thought fate would play such a trick? In just 5 minutes, passionate lovers turned into strangers, afraid that Gu Chuan would also feel awkward. Without a moment's hesitation, I hit the button and wiped out 3 months worth of chat history with him. Gu Chuan caught a glimpse of my movement from the corner of his eye. His mood didn't seem to have improved at all. He handed me a business card with a dark, sullen face. I instantly tapped to open it and carefully zoomed in on the profile picture. Oh, so Lu Huaiji uses this account. Their profile pictures really do look a bit alike, so it's understandable to mistake them. I quickly took a screenshot of the business card, then tapped the top right corner of Gu Chuan's profile page, ready to unfriend each other as he had requested. But in the next moment, someone suddenly grabbed her wrist. Let's not unfriend each other just yet. Gu Chuan suddenly spoke up, then after a moment's thought, he added an explanation. Just delete the chat history for now. Once I've added Su Yang, you can delete it later, but you must never tell anyone about mistaking me for someone else. As compensation for your time, I can give you 50,000. Gu Chuan's expression was somewhat peculiar when he said those words, but I didn't think much of it. He was already a well-known big shot on campus, the top-tier rich kid in the finance department. Nobody wants their dirty little secret out there. Mistaking someone in an online romance and chatting with them for 3 whole months, it's normal to spend money for peace of mind. 50,000 yuan is nothing to him. It's just the price of any random piece of clothing he wears. I have no objection to that, even without love. Having money is fine. This is so much money, it could even cover all my living expenses throughout college. What's more, he even gave me Lu Huaixi's WeChat ID. No matter how I look at it, I've come out way ahead, I agreed without hesitation. In Gu Chuan's increasingly deep and intense gaze, he waved his phone nonchalantly and walked away. 3. But in that moment of turning around, I couldn't laugh anymore. I can no longer force myself to pretend to be strong and act as if nothing is wrong. At the moment I realized I had mistaken them for someone else, I was still hesitating. Even if it was just a false alarm, but these 3 months of company from dawn till dusk, talking about everything from daily trivialities to secret thoughts, all those moments of being moved and resonated with are real. The fondness and affection I felt were also genuine and tangible. As for Lu Huai, to me, he was merely a distant admiration from my youthful heart, someone I never dated, let alone developed real feelings for. So if Gu Chuan hesitated just now, just like I did, I've made up my mind. I'll try to get to know him all over again, starting fresh with my true identity, but Gu Chuan had refused very clearly and decisively just now. They simply don't like me at all, from start to finish. He was after Su Yang. On the way, I couldn't help it and secretly shed tears for a long time. After pulling myself together, I got back to the dorm just before lights out. Gu Chuan's 50,000 yuan had already been credited to his account. He's so straightforward, probably worried that I might let it slip in front of Su Yang, so they reminded me to keep my promise. As promised, I once again cleared my new chat history with him. Take a deep breath. I told Su Yang that Gu Chuan wanted to add her as a friend. Su Yang was stunned for a long time before a look of surprise gradually spread across his face, but he seemed skeptical and asked me to confirm several times. Gu Chuan from the finance department, you and him, are you close? Why would he ask you to add me? I just made up a random excuse. I interviewed him before. He happened to find out that you and I are roommates, so he asked me to help get your WeChat. Su Yang nodded, then glanced at the clean chat interface between Gu Chuan and me, and didn't press further with any suspicion. Thanks, Xixia. With that, she stared at her friend request list with sparkling eyes. Sure enough, Gu Chuan didn't keep her waiting. The next second, a red dot appeared on the contact list. I turned around, climbed into bed, drew the curtains, and lay down. I don't want to witness how things develop between her and Gu Chuan firsthand anymore. Yet, once I close my eyes, I feel no trace of sleepiness. For 3 whole months before that, my life almost entirely revolves around chatting with Gu Chuan. At this hour, I would normally be chatting with him on the phone in the hallway, or the two of them exchange blush-inducing, secret sweet nothings on WeChat. Last night, I was still lost in my fantasies. After meeting up today, my boyfriend and I went for a walk along the century-old plane tree avenue. Take him to meet the little orange cat I secretly feed at school, going to the library together to study and save a seat for each other. Now it has all turned to nothing, leaving a hollow ache in my heart. But under the opposite table, just 2 meters away, Su Yang's WeChat messages and typing sound effects rang out one after another, as if reminding me over and over again, don't even think about it, it's impossible. Gu Chuan's patience and affection over these 3 months were all for Su Yang. Even when whispering sweet nothings, the face that came to his mind was still Su Yang's. It was never me. Since Gu Chuan has chosen to set things right, I should not allow myself to remain lost in indulgence. After thinking it over, I edited the last message and politely informed Gu Chuan before deleting it. Senior Gu, I've passed along the message and sent you Su Yang's contact info. As agreed, I'll delete you now. 5. Never said goodbye, because we probably won't be chatting on WeChat again. After sending it, I habitually paused for a few seconds. Just as I was about to delete him for good, a reply quickly appeared on the screen. Hold on. I was a bit puzzled, my fingers pausing mid-motion, yet the typing indicator keeps showing at the top of the chat window, but no message ever comes through. After quite a while, the other side finally sent 2 lines of explanation. It just occurred to me that the imported medicine you asked me to have someone buy for you last time has already been shipped by my friend. It should arrive in about half a month. I'll pass it to you then, and you can delete it. Reminded by Gu Chuan, I suddenly remembered the shopping service. I had casually complained to Gu Chuan earlier that my grandmother had a weak heart and a certain imported medicine she needed was hard to get. He proactively offered that he had a reliable friend who could help with purchasing it. With that in mind, I quickly replied to Gu Chuan, thanks, Senior Gu, I almost forgot about this. Let's unfriend each other after I received the medicine. After a few more seconds, the other side finally replied with just one word, okay. After thinking it over, I should pay him first. By the way, you said there was no rush before. How much is the total for the agent purchase plus shipping? I'll transfer it to you now. I'm a bit embarrassed to say this, my family isn't well off, so my grandmother usually can't bring herself to buy expensive medicine. The money Gu Chuan just gave was exactly enough to cover the medical expenses, but I waited for a long time for him to get back to me with the price. My eyes were aching from staring at the screen, but there was still no response. A pang of bitterness crept into my heart again. Until today, Gu Chuan always replied to my messages instantly every time, even if I wake him up in the middle of the night after a nightmare to tell him about it. I'll get his comforting words right away. But now their words were polite yet distant, not even on the level of casual friends, lost and random. Thoughts. Suddenly, Su Yang's sweet voice rang out in the dorm. Wow, Senior Gu, your gaming stats are amazing. Can't wait for you to carry me to victory. My heart gave an involuntary lurch. So that's why you didn't reply to me. You were already playing games with Su Yang. Su Yang put on her headphones. Whatever the person on the other end said, she was laughing so hard she was shaking all over. Come on, my voice isn't that nice. You're way too good at flattering girls. Senior, be honest with me. Have you dated a lot of girls? A senior as amazing as you, how could you not have dated before? If you keep lying to me, I'll make sure you never get chopsticks with your takeout orders again. Su Yang's laughter never stopped, and her voice grew increasingly flirtatious. Actually, her voice wasn't that loud, but I can't seem to hold back the overwhelming wave of sadness crashing over me. It seems their opening went much more smoothly than I expected. Yeah, if it weren't for me showing up. They were supposed to be like this too. I found my earplugs and plugged my ears in an act of avoidance, let the tears silently stream down my face. 6. After this online dating fiasco, of course, I also lack the courage right now to reach out to the real Lu Huaishi for a conversation, forcing a smile every day, yet lacking the energy to do anything. It always takes time to break an addiction, I tell myself in solace. Just a mistaken online romance, it will be fine soon, but it's the opposite of my state. After that day, Su Yang and Gu Chuan's relationship progressed quite smoothly. Gu Chuan began to show up around Su Yang more and more often, accompanying her to the early morning class, and queuing up at the cafeteria to buy her favorite dishes. Even when she was practicing dance in the club, Gu Chuan would wait for 4 or 5 hours without batting an eye. Su Yang would often bring up Gu Chuan with a sweet smile in the dorm, sharing with us the delicate snacks and pastries he had given her. Both of them have been subtly showing off luxury gifts and romantic dates on their social media. Within a few days, the whole school knew they were a couple. They were so openly matched and gracefully confident that everyone envied them. Unlike me, only fit for those unknown virtual worlds, I briefly stole some of others' affection. I began to subconsciously avoid places where Gu Chuan might appear, but the school is so small, and Su Yang is in the same department as me, so it's hard not to run into each other. We once met in a narrow corridor. I just happened to see it, before the floor-to-ceiling window, dyed through by the sunset's afterglow. Su Yang was on tiptoe, tilting her head up to gently peck Gu Chuan on the lips. Gu Chuan's eyes darkened as he leaned in, catching her in a firm embrace and kissing her deeply. I stared blankly at the scene. My mind seemed to be blank for a long moment, and I actually forgot to turn and walk away, until Gu Chuan's hand slid down to the ticklish spot between Su Yang's buttocks. She let out a soft moan. I suddenly woke up with a start, only to meet Gu Chuan's displeased gaze, as if being peeped at and disturbed. A chill instantly enveloped me, and I hurriedly mumbled, "Sorry." Then he turned around and fled swiftly. It was only after running out of the teaching building that he had the chance to breathe deeply, but the next moment, the familiar profile picture that hadn't lit up in so long, sent me another message. "Li Xia, weren't we supposed to end things with grace? I hope you stop watching me. And Su Yang, if she gets even a hint of this, I won't let it slide. Also, please put an end to all the feelings that shouldn't exist." 7. I felt as if someone had dumped a bucket of ice-cold water over my head. My very core was chilled through and through. Shame and mortification instantly overwhelmed me completely. I thought that after 3 months of getting to know me, he would at least have some idea of who I really am. But in his eyes, I was just a clown in the gutter. At this moment, there was no time to care about dignity or being a personal shopper. I can't manage any of it anymore. Without a moment's hesitation, I deleted Gu Chuan. I also decided to completely seal away that past, which I once thought could still count as a somewhat fond memory. After that, I made even more of a point to avoid Gu Chuan and Su Yang. Even if they met face to face, they would immediately turn around and walk away quickly, out all day from dawn till dusk, numbing myself with various club activities. It Really is quite a coincidence. The excuse I casually made up has actually come true. The student council is organizing a big event, and they sent me as a representative of the press corps to contact Lu Huaixi to record a promotional video. I just joined the school press corps, and since I'm majoring in journalism, I really couldn't get out of it, but because of that earlier misunderstanding, now that I'm facing Lu Huaixi, I can't help but feel a bit awkward. That night, I lay in bed and opened Lu Huaixi's WeChat. I've been struggling for a long time on how to start edited and deleted and edited, over and over again a dozen times. I never know which one fits best. In the end, I fumbled and hit a few keys, accidentally sending out a string of gibberish. I quickly scrambled to retract it, but the other person, almost in the next moment, sent it. Now it was my turn to be stunned. Just as I was hesitating how to explain, the other person sent another message. Classmate Lee, is there something? 7. My mind was even more muddled, and I was now wide awake, not the slightest bit sleepy. How could Lu Huaixi know me, and even have my WeChat? This is the legendary academic prodigy from the physics department. Known for his aloof demeanor, he is said to be so immersed in academia that he has never even been seen at any social or entertainment venues. I hastily typed out my request with trembling hands and sent it over. Hello, Senior Lu, this is Li Xiao from the school press corps. I'd like to schedule a video interview with you about the student union. Do you have any available time? The other person is showing his typing. After about 10 seconds, feeling a bit uneasy, I sent another message. No worries if it's not convenient. We can always catch up another time. Grin. Lu Huaixi was incredibly busy. His numerous publications in core journals every year weren't achieved without effort. He doesn't have time to waste on a small interview like this, and I completely understand that. In fact, he had already turned down many similar school filming opportunities before, but the reply on the other side appeared on the screen almost at the same time as my message. Anytime. I was even more shocked. God, Lu is actually this easy to talk to. A surprise fell from the sky, leaving me dizzy and stunned. This is honestly the happiest thing I've experienced in days. If we secure this interview video, his godlike looks will definitely be played as a promotional clip on loop on the school's screen all year round. That really makes me, a rookie reporter, look good. My budding ambition has taken over the tangled, girlish worries I once had. Seizing the moment, I pressed on to finalize the time and details with him, and also sent him the interview outline for confirmation. The other person finished reading in less than a minute and replied back to me, overall it's fine, but I have a few questions about some details. Would it be convenient to talk directly? I sat up in bed immediately and replied swiftly, convenient, very convenient. The moment the call connected, Lu Huaixi's clear voice came through from the other end. Hello, Li, I hope I didn't disturb your rest. I was flattered. Lu Huaixi turned out to be so gentle and polite. The voice of the key is truly beautiful, but I was obviously nervous. I stammered through a brief check of the process with him, just before hanging up. A crucial question suddenly came to mind. Couldn't help but ask him, Senior, may I ask how you knew this WeChat account was mine? Did you know me before? The person on the other end paused for a moment, then burst out laughing. I remember during the previous outstanding dormitory interview, you were so diligent that you added every single person in the dorm. Well, I guess I'm not memorable enough. You've added too many people and forgotten about me. I'm ready to help. Please provide the simplified Chinese text you'd like me to translate. No, that's not it. I couldn't help but rant wildly in my head. How could I ever forget? I mistook you for someone else. The main reason I added those 18 guys was just to get to you, my crush, but I couldn't say any of that, let alone bring up the fact that I had mistaken the person. About to brush it off with a laugh, then a sharp male voice abruptly rang out from the other side. God, Lu is actually chatting with a girl late at night, and smiling so happily. Holy shit. That's impossible. Pigs might fly. Gu Chuan, come take a look. Oh my god. The other person's WeChat profile picture is a pink bunny, definitely a hot girl. Hearing that name out of the blue, I was completely speechless. My gaze fell on the pink bunny avatar I've never bothered to change. The next moment, a familiar voice rang out heavily from across the way. Lu Huaixi, what's your relationship with Li Xia? 8. I haven't heard Gu Chuan's voice for a long time. I hung up the call out of reflex. I didn't have the courage to hear what Lu Huaixi said to him, also afraid that Gu Chuan would tell him about mistaking me for someone else before. Gu Chuan probably still thinks I deliberately pretended to be Su Young to trick him into an online romance. What would Lu Huaixi think of me then? I closed my eyes for a moment. Feels like everything goes wrong when Gu Chuan is involved. After a long bout of random thoughts, Lu Huaxi's WeChat lit up again. My roommates were just making some silly jokes. Don't mind them. I read it several times over. Judging by his tone, it seems Gu Chuan didn't say anything out of line. Yeah, he's always thought of that part of his past as a dark history. So why would he ever bring it up on his own accord? I felt relieved. After briefly agreeing on the interview time with Lu Huaixi, we simply said goodnight to each other. Gu Chuan's sudden appearance completely swept away the joy I had just felt from getting in touch with Lu Huaixi. Fortunately, the interview with Lu Huaixi the next day went surprisingly smoothly when I added him on WeChat. It was Lu Huaixi's dormitory head who scanned the code for me. I didn't have a chance to get up close with Lu Huaixi that time. After this in-person interview interaction, I just feel that it's even more captivating than watching his elegant, eloquent speech from far away in the audience. Before, Lu Huaixi smiled patiently throughout, maintaining a gentle and dignified demeanor. Instead, it made both me and the female camera operator I was working with a bit nervous. One moment he stammered. The next he was lost in a daze staring at him. Fortunately, Lu Huaixi was commanding enough to keep the situation under control. I only went through the script once, and the video was approved on the first take. Just the sparkles in the camera girl's eyes said it all. How thrilled she was with this video. After it ended, Lu Huaixi took the initiative to buy us milk tea. Halfway through her milk tea, the camera girl had to rush off for something. When it was just Lu Huaixi and me sitting across from each other, I suddenly felt a bit uneasy, just looking for an excuse to end it. Lu Huaixi, however, initiated a topic with me, as if he wasn't planning to leave anytime soon. Fortunately, Lu Huaixi knew exactly how to keep the conversation going, always steering it toward topics related to our major and student clubs. It wasn't long before we hit it off and were chatting like old friends, but just as I was laughing so hard my stomach hurt at some embarrassing classroom story he was telling, a surprised female voice suddenly sounded behind me. Xia Xia, is it really you? 9. The moment his voice faded, Su Yang had already taken a seat beside me. Without a second thought, I turned my head and met Gu Chuan's complex, scrutinizing gaze beside her. He walked over as well and sat down beside Lu Huaixi. Xia Xia, I watched from outside for quite a while, thought the god Lu was on a date with some beauty, but when I got closer, it looked like it could be you. Turns out it really was you. Su Yang beamed as she pulled me into a friendly chat, then let her gaze dart back and forth between me and Lu Huaixi. You guys, how are you together? As he finished speaking, Gu Chuan also looked up and stared at me. I guess he's probably unhappy about me showing up in front of them again. Actually, I didn't really want to run into them, let alone feel the need to sit at the same table. The student council asked me to interview Senior Lu, and he kindly treated our team to milk tea. I quickly explained. Oh, I see, that's what I thought. Su Yang let out a meaningful sigh, then introduced to Gu Chuan. This is my roommate Li Xia. You two probably know each other but aren't close, right? Come to think of it, we should thank her for setting us up, right? Xia Xia. My knuckles were stiff around the cup as I forced an ugly smile. Hi, Senior Gu. Gu Chuan remained composed, nodding casually without even glancing at me. Not really. I felt a bit uneasy, so I planned to get up, go to the restroom, and then leave early. But when I returned, Su Yang was not there. Only Gu Chuan and Lu Huaixi were left at the table. As I approached Gu Chuan from behind, I overheard him muttering to Lu Huaixi in a low voice, "Stay away from girls like Li Xia. She's not as simple as she seems. Don't let her fool you." The moment those words fell, my steps froze in place. Lu Huaixi's face darkened as well. He was about to say something when Gu Chuan seemed to sense it and turned his head, barely meeting my indifferent gaze. A flicker of embarrassment, and perhaps a hint of panic, flashed in Gu Chuan's eyes, but I couldn't muster even a trace of a smile. The shame and awkwardness nearly made me lose my footing. I suddenly remembered I have something to discuss with the advisor. You two take your time chatting. I walked over, pretending to be calm. I quickly said goodbye to Lu Huaixi, grabbed my bag, and hurriedly prepared to leave. Unexpectedly, Lu Huaixi also stood up suddenly. I need to pass by your department too for something. Let's walk together. Lu Huaixi shot a wary glance at Gu Chuan, whose face was equally grim. I practically bolted out of there as if fleeing. Lu Huaixi caught up quickly. For some reason, it felt like we had walked a long way. There's always been a pair of eyes watching me from behind. On the way, Lu Huaixi carefully chose his words to explain to me. Sorry, I don't agree with what my roommate just said. I have no idea why he suddenly said that, but in my eyes, you're a passionate, simple, and optimistic girl when it comes to your work, not what he made you out to be. Don't take his words to heart. He's never had good taste. I was feeling a bit upset at first, but hearing him say that made it seem like nothing. Actually, at this point, what Gu Chuan thinks of me really doesn't matter at all. Does it? I forced a smile to show that I was fine, but after I arrived at the office building and parted ways with Lu Huaiji, suddenly received a message from an unknown number. The medicine I purchased for you has arrived. I'll have a courier deliver it to you tonight. I'm sorry about what I just said. I didn't mean it that way. 10. I have no idea what Gu Chuan really means. I don't want to try to figure out what he's thinking anymore. I'll transfer the money to him after I receive the medicine tonight. Let's go back to being complete strangers. But I never expected that by the time I got the medicine from the errand runner, I left it open on the dorm desk. I just came back from taking a shower. Su Young stood by my desk with a dark expression, staring at the medicine, thinking about the origin of this medicine and afraid that Su Young would ask too many questions. I decided to put it away first. Unexpectedly, she suddenly rushed over and knocked all the medicine out of my hand onto the floor. Then he slapped me hard across the face. Li Xia, how could you do something so shameless behind my back? I was stunned by Su Yang's sudden attack, my face stinging with pain, before I could react. I heard her coldly demand, where did these medicines come from? What's wrong with the medicine I had a friend buy for me? Have you lost your mind? Coming to my senses, rage surged through me, and I immediately prepared to hit back. Unexpectedly, my two other roommates held me back tightly, leaving me no chance to fight back. If there's a misunderstanding, let's talk it out nicely. No need to get physical. I mean, we're all roommates. Why make such an ugly scene? We'll have to see each other every day. Those two roommates always fawn over Su Young and completely take her side in every conversation. But Su Young was still not satisfied, holding the receipt from inside the medication and pressing further. Who did you get to help you with the purchase? How can you, a student on financial aid, afford such expensive medication, and imported at that? That friend of yours sure is generous. Li Xia, don't you think it's disgusting to go behind my back and use my name to seduce my boyfriend? Her words left me speechless, and I shot back in anger. What do you mean, playing dumb after being the other woman? Huh, I saw the packaging on your package. It's exactly the same as the one Gu Chuan received yesterday, down to the special English letters. Good thing I was curious and took a second look, or I'd never have known that my dorm roommate, who I live with every day, was sneaking around doing something so filthy behind my back. She pulled a card out of the box and read it aloud in a low voice. Chuan, here's the medicine I bought for your girlfriend. The cost is on me, but don't forget to treat me to a glass of wedding wine later. Su Young grew angrier and angrier as she read, and hurled the card straight at my face. A sharp piece of paper cut my cheek, and it immediately stung so badly that it drew blood, but she was still not satisfied. Li Xia, how can you be so shameless? If you're his girlfriend, then who am I? If I hadn't just called Gu Chuan to get the full story, I wouldn't have known that before he added me. You deliberately tried to flirt with him using my name. If he hadn't caught you and called you out when you met in person, were you planning to just trick him into bed? Why are you so desperate? Everyone stared at me in shock. I was so furious that tears streamed down my face as I defended myself loudly. I didn't, it was just a misunderstanding, I thought, but before I could finish, my other roommates beat me to it, gasping in shock. Ah, how could she do something so shameless? Li Xia, how dare you pretend to be the department belle and date the campus heartthrob? Who gave you the nerve? Don't you have a mirror at home, or did you forget to pee in it? So shameless, pretending everything's fine and still sharing a dorm with Susu, watching them all lovey-dovey every day. You must be dying of jealousy, right? Oh my god, that's hilarious. She threw herself at him for free, and Mr. Gu didn't even give her a second glance. The two roommates went back and forth, stoking Su Yang's anger all over again. Walk over and stomp on those pill boxes, one foot after another, until she stomped the pill box to pieces, sending pills scattering across the tiles and rolling all over the floor. Stop, I struggled with all my might, crying, as I broke free from my roommate's restraint, then rushed over and picked up the pill box that hadn't been crushed. Su Young shoved me to the ground again. Have you no shame? This was bought by my boyfriend's friend for his own girlfriend. Who do you think you are to dare accept it? Still not satisfied, she grabbed the medicine box and hurled it at my face as she spoke. I paused mid-motion at those grating words, and stopped picking up the medicine. She is right, those pills were never mine to begin with. I was the one who had the nerve to ask them for help. I grabbed my phone and dashed out of the dorm room in her nightgown. She didn't dare to run far, only making it to the dark corner outside the dormitory building. Cried my eyes out. 11. When the dorm leader Li Yao and the counselor came looking for me, I was still sobbing by the bushes. Li Yao angrily helped me up, Soo-young has gone way too far. The moment I got back to the dorm and heard about it, I immediately reported it to the counselor. How could he resort to violence? The counselor had just said a few words to comfort me when Soo-young came down as well. To her surprise, even Gu-chuan had followed along behind her. Upon seeing Gu-chuan, the counselor's tone began to waver. Forget it, since you were in the wrong earlier too, and Soo was just momentarily blinded by anger. Let's just have you apologize to each other and call it a day. After all, you're only freshmen, and you'll be living together for 4 years. There's no need to let the dorm relations turn sour. Soo-young, her eyes red-rimmed, tugged at Gu-chuan's arm. I'm not apologizing, I did nothing wrong. She was the one pretending to be me and seducing you, Li Yao retorted angrily. Hitting someone is never right. If you don't apologize, we'll call the police. Yang fell silent and hid behind Gu-chuan. Gu-chuan's gaze fell on my swollen cheek and the thin scratch, hesitating as if troubled. After a moment's pause, she still tried to persuade me. To be honest, you do bear a lot of responsibility for this. If you had been clear from the start, this misunderstanding wouldn't have happened. Those medical bills amount to tens of thousands. I'll waive them. Consider it my apology to you on behalf of Susu. I stared at Gu-chuan in disbelief. It's impossible to connect the person in front of me with the one I had an online relationship with for 3 months back then. The man I thought I knew, Li Yao wanted to say something more, but I held her back. There was no need to drag her into my troubles. I bowed solemnly to Gu-chuan and apologized. I'm sorry, Senior Gu-chuan, I wasn't clear in my WeChat message back then, which led you to mistake me for Soo-young. I sincerely apologize for the trouble and inconvenience I've caused you, and I will never disturb you again. Gu-chuan's face suddenly darkened. He opened his mouth as if to say something more. Soo-young let out a disdainful snort. I ignored him and, after saying that, pulled Li Yao upstairs. I can't afford to move out and rent a place. The counselor also refused to let me change dorm rooms, so I have no choice but to keep living in this one. But after that day, the atmosphere in the dorm was as cold as an ice house, except for Li Yao, whose relationship with me remains the same as before. Others look right through me as if I were invisible, especially Soo-young. Every time she looks at me, there's a hint of mockery in her eyes. I thought as long as I didn't care, stayed true to myself, and spend as little time in the dorm as possible, everything would be fine, but discovered soon after someone keeps throwing my clothes from the balcony onto the ground, and they even get stepped on with dirty footprints. The toiletries placed in the bathroom were also deliberately knocked to the floor. Even my trash can gets accidentally kicked over by passers-by, leaving a mess all over the floor. I can't take it anymore. After showing these photos to the counselor, I finally managed to apply for a room change. She still disagreed at first, insisting that any issue could be resolved through calm discussion, but I said that if I couldn't change dorm rooms, I would post all of this on the school forum and let everyone judge for me. The counselor reluctantly agreed. On the day I moved out of the dorm, I deliberately chose a time when no one else was in the room. My new dorm is in a different building. I specifically asked the dorm manager to arrange it that way, just to avoid running into Soo-young and her group, but just as I was carrying out the last bag of clothes, I ran into Gu-chuan on the way. 12. He stood still not far away, staring for a long moment before snapping back to reality. A few steps over, ready to help me, I stepped back 2 paces and walked around him, moving on. Gu-chuan stood there with a wry smile, as if he wanted to say something. Finally, he shouted helplessly at me, "Why did you suddenly move dorms? There's no need to treat me like I'm some kind of monster, is there?" I didn't look back. I don't want to have anything to do with him anymore, and doesn't need any help from him at all actually. I've noticed quite a few times lately that he's always hanging around nearby, as if he's trying to say something to me. I really don't want to leave any room for misunderstanding from others every time. Just like now, I deter far away from him, but I don't know why. Without me around, Gu-chuan and Soo-young actually got into a conflict. I heard they're always breaking up and getting back together, constantly arguing. I hear these irrelevant matters and let them go. My new dorm mates are pretty nice. They've all been friendly to me, but within just a few days, my new dorm mates started giving me strange looks, also started to barely talk to me. I couldn't figure out why until a kind classmate showed me the school forum. Just found out someone's been spreading rumors about me on the campus network. They say I pretended to be the department beauty to flirt with someone else's boyfriend, and after being exposed, I was too embarrassed to stay and slinked off to another dormitory. She also said that she and her boyfriend were on the verge of breaking up because of my interference. Warned the girls in my dorm now to watch out, or I might steal their boyfriends away. I haven't had time to post a clarification yet. The counselor called me To the office again, someone wrote a real name complaint letter accusing me of deliberately interfering in someone else's relationship, claiming I have character flaws. My eligibility for the scholarship and financial aid has also been revoked. I was completely dumbfounded. The counselor looked at me with irritation, every word dripping with impatience. You again, and this kind of thing, you're only a freshman. Can't you keep yourself out of trouble? I was at a loss for words, faced with this series of false accusations. I was completely helpless. As soon as I left the office, I immediately chose to call the police. Lu Huaixi found me before the police arrived. Actually, he's been in touch with me all along these days. It started with the interview, and later he asked me for a few small favors. After a while, we got to know each other pretty well, but he never once mentioned the matter of Gu Chuan and Su Young in front of me. From start to finish, I don't know if he's unaware of the truth, nor do I know how Gu Chuan will frame me, but in the end, Lu Huaixi chose to believe me the moment he saw those posts and the so-called conclusive evidence. He even hired a lawyer for me and got the school to help take down the posts. Once the lawyer's letter and the clarification statement are pinned at the top of the forum, those mudslinging posts will vanish on their own. But Lu Huaixi asked me, do I plan to let it go or keep pursuing it? This time, I didn't hesitate and decided to see the lawsuit through to the end. I can't give those people another chance to sling mud at me, but I didn't expect Gu Chuan to come looking for me. He blocked the only way back to my dormitory with a complicated expression. He asked me how much money it would take for me to drop the lawsuit. Susu is crying her heart out right now. She knows she was wrong. She was just jealous and blinded by it at the time. Could you please let it go and show some mercy? After all, you know as well as I do, if it weren't for us, those 3 months, she wouldn't be this bothered. 3 months, another 3 months. No one regrets more than I do about spending 3 months talking to someone like that. If I had known it would cause me so much trouble, I would never have started a conversation with him even if it killed me. I closed my eyes, with no intention of tangling with Gu Chuan, and turned to leave directly. Gu Chuan suddenly reached out and grabbed me. I turned around, about to shake him off, when another strong hand abruptly reached over. I blocked Gu Chuan's hand that was gripping my wrist, trying to pry it off. Are you okay? Lu Huaixi looked at me with concern, then turned to Gu Chuan and snapped, can't you see she doesn't want you grabbing her? Gu Chuan was completely stunned, never expecting Lu Huaixi to suddenly help me. He asked with a grim face, this is between her and me. What does it have to do with you? What gives you the right to take her side? Lu Huaixi answered him without changing his expression. She's my friend, so of course I'll help her out. What is your relationship with them anyway? Why should they just be magnanimous and forgive your girlfriend just because she got jealous and started spreading rumors and falsely accusing others? You were the one who mistook someone for someone else, weren't you? Were you just wishfully thinking on your own, from start to finish? Did classmate Li ever say a single word claiming to be Su Young? Don't act like you're the victim here. While speaking, Gu Chuan's grip gradually loosened, and he no longer had the courage to hold on to me. Gu Chuan opened his mouth, but in the end, nothing came out. I shot Lu Huaixi a grateful glance, then turned to Gu Chuan with a serious tone. I've long since paid off whatever I owed you. There's no debt of gratitude between us anymore. I will hold her accountable for the harm she caused me. Also, please stop bothering me from now on. With that, I took Lu Huaixi's hand and left. Only Gu Chuan was left frozen in place. After that day, the counselor talked to me several more times, and the department had also asked me about the situation. I have been adamant and unyielding, insisting on holding Su Young fully accountable to the very end. It took me so many years to get into this university, and I'm only a freshman now. I don't want to go through these 4 years with a stain on my reputation. 14. Seeing me like this, Su Young finally panicked. He proactively sought reconciliation with me to get me to drop the lawsuit. I ignored her, but I agreed with the school administration's decision. They don't want to take the matter to court. The school gave her a disciplinary demerit, made her issue a written apology to me in front of the entire school, and had her pay me tens of thousands in compensation for emotional distress. Gu Chuan never bothered me about that matter again. When everything was settled, I treated Lu Huaixi to a seafood buffet with the compensation money. I'm grateful for everything he did for me. Without his hard work later on, things wouldn't have gone so smoothly. I didn't expect to finish the meal. Lu Huaixi suddenly presented a cake and a huge bouquet of roses to confess his love to me. My jaw dropped in shock. Then Lu Huaixi explained with a smile, actually, I noticed you a long time ago. During military training that time, I saw you practicing goose steps under a tree. The focused look on your face was really cute. My instinct told me you must be an interesting girl. Later, when you came to report on our dorm, adding everyone's WeChat one by one. I wanted to find a chance to get to know you, but before I could make a move, I realized that my roommate, Gu Chuan, had already confessed to you. I remember your avatar, a pink bunny. He was so happy telling us back then that he'd met a girl he really clicked with and managed to win her over. After that, he was always on the phone with you in the dorm, and I figured you two were deeply into each other, so I didn't think twice about it. But the day after he went to meet her in person, when he took us out to dinner with his online date, I realized he was with someone else entirely. At the time, I didn't know what happened, until later when I pieced it together. I wanted to give you more time to process that whole thing, but it just happened that you came to me for an interview again. Anyway, it was all fate. I listened quietly to everything he said. It feels absurd yet somehow makes sense. It turns out there shouldn't have been so many twists and turns between us in the first place. Lu Huaixi waited expectantly for my answer. Of course I was happy too, but I never imagined that Lu Huaixi, who was so far above me, would actually like me. I took a deep breath, feeling a bit nervous. The first thing I said back to him was, actually, back then, the reason I added so many people was just to get your WeChat, but then, by some twist of fate, I mistook someone else's account for yours, and that's how those 3 wrong months began. Lu Huaixi was stunned by my words. When he came to, his eyes sparkled with delight, but before he could say anything, there was a loud clang beside him as someone dropped their buffet plate onto the floor. I turned around and met Gu Chuan's pale face, locking eyes with him. 15, a mix of shock, anger, and embarrassment flickered in his eyes, along with a hint of awkwardness. Gu Chuan walked over angrily and asked me for confirmation. Li Xia, what did you say? You mistook me for him back then. I nodded. Lu Huaixi chimed in with a smile. See, I told you, Xia Xia's taste isn't that bad. Gu Chuan looked at me in disbelief and asked again, Li Xia, so during those 3 months you were with me, your mind was completely occupied by another man. How could you lie to me? All those feelings you kept hidden, your confessions, your affections, they were all meant for someone else. I nodded again. Exactly, I'm just like you. You're into Su Yang, and I'm into Lu Huaixi. It has always been this way, from the very beginning until now. Gu Chuan's expression shattered piece by piece, and he was left speechless. It was as if she was meeting me for the first time. Lu Huaixi, on the other hand, was quite pleased. He took my hand and led me straight out of the restaurant. That day, Lu Huaixi and I confirmed our relationship as a couple. They began to openly interact with each other at school. According to him, Gu Chuan and Su Yang have completely broken things off. It ended badly, the kind where they'll never have anything to do with each other again. Su Yang, due to being punished before and for leading the isolation and bullying of a roommate in the dormitory, gets pointed at and whispered about wherever she goes. She had to take a 1-year leave of absence from school. Just when I thought everything had returned to normal, Gu Chuan started coming to me frequently. He would squat downstairs at my dorm, wait outside the library entrance, and even take the initiative to sit in on lectures in my department's classes. He apologized to me many times, admitted that he shouldn't have favored Su Yang, and regretted mistaking her identity at the time, failing to recognize his own true feelings. Li Xia, can you give me a fair chance to pursue you again? I later realized that what I love is your interesting soul, regardless of appearance. We liked each other 3 months earlier than Lu Huaixi did. Why can't we give each other another chance? I refused him without hesitation. When you hurt me for Su Yang's sake, didn't your conscience tell you to treat others with a little kindness? What you think is love is actually just unwillingness to let go. I refused to lose to Lu Huaixi. Gu Chuan was left speechless, but that night, I heard that Lu Huaixi got into a fierce fight with him. By the time I arrived, both of them were already injured. Without sparing Gu Chuan another glance, I walked straight over and hugged Lu Huaixi with a heart full of concern. She carefully applied the medicine to him again. Gu Chuan's shattered gaze was fixed on us, his eyes nearly bloodshot. Not long after, Gu Chuan applied for an overseas exchange program. On the day he left, he asked someone to deliver to me a large supply of the medications I had originally asked him to buy on my behalf. There's a note inside that says, "I'm sorry." I checked the account online and transferred the medication fee directly to his account. Lu Huaixi has his card number. The day everything was settled, the lingering summer heat has also sunk into the dusk, the tears and tales of those long summer days, and thus, the curtain finally falls.